Hey everyone, it's Rebecca West. I am just here demoing or trying out Dora AI to see if it's going to do anything like it promised. So I'm just on the open page here where it says a landing page for, and then I'm going to say interior design course with a Rosie the Riveter theme in teal, orange, and pink. Now I'm noticing that their prompts are really focusing on the objects, right? So a landing page for a traditional Chinese landscape, mountains and, or a landing page for a McDonald's new product, a classic cheeseburger with. And so they're really focusing on the visuals here. So I'm not sure that including an interior design course is going to really benefit me. So let's pull that back and let's just say landing page for Rosie the Riveter. We're going to get rid of theme, trying to follow what they're showing us here. And I am going to keep the colors. Now it's 120 credits. This is in beta and it's going to generate four previews for 20 of those 120 credits. And let's see what we get. Ooh, took longer than the 15 seconds. Haha. Okay, now it's hard to actually see any of these. I'm liking the color palettes. And I like that they didn't take it too literally. And now this one I'm noticing feels a bit busy as I scroll through it. And I'm not, again, I'm just looking at the preview level. This one's got some cute flowers that I don't really need, but I like the overall simplicity of the template. Again, I'm not sure why. Oh, it's probably Rosie the Riveter. Rose, getting all these roses on there. Interesting. So it's very, very literal. And then I'm guessing I'm going to have a lot of opportunities to replace these images. The main thing I want to be able to do is find out how much copy I'm going to need to create. So I'm hoping that they're creating really good copy blocks because that gives you a sense of how much you actually need to write for each section of the page. Let's go ahead and play with whichever one we like the top level for. And I would say that this one meets the sweet spot. So let's go ahead and ask it to generate. Noticing that they've got an invite a friend aspect up here, which would give me 200 new credits. And of course, I'm down to 80 credits because I've now done my first preview, which was 20 credits, and then another, now I generated, which was another 20 credits. Progress is going pretty quick. We're already at 82, 90, almost 100%. Now, as this is generating, I'm thinking about a couple of different things. Number one, this is just the visual and the layout, and I don't know how this would interact with actually publishing. I know we can obviously publish it directly, but I'm guessing that stays on the Dora site somehow rather than, say, moving over to my WordPress site. I would clearly want to move this over to my WordPress site, and I'm not a tech person, so I'm not sure how I would do that. So that's one of the questions. It says, thanks for upgrading. That's an interesting sales tactic. I have not upgraded. I could start that now. Oh, isn't that nice of them? But I could say maybe later. Now it's also giving me maybe some information I need.
Hi, in this video I'm gonna show you how to edit your Dora AI generated site and how to make it an actual live site. First, let me show you some basic editing techniques. The shortcut for direct selection is holding Command and click. For example, if I want to change this text, I could direct select this text box and fill in a different line of text. I can also change its width in the right panel. And if I want to change the padding of this hero section, I can fix the values over here under the constraints section. If I like to replace any images of my own, first direct select the image and go to Assets, select Upload Image and choose your own image, wait for it to upload. I can also make this image set as Contain or Cover. Next, let me show you how constraints and responsive layout work in the editor. First, while you might be familiar with units like pixels, we can also use relative units like percentages to make elements responsive. And if I have a title or a line of text, I can either set it as a relative unit or set it to hide contents. In order to ensure this text box maintains a consistent distance from the image, I can connect the top dot to the image's bottom and set the distance under constraint.
Okay, so let's just pause right there. I can tell that this could be a powerful tool, but most of what it's saying over here is, I wouldn't say it's all Greek to me, but this isn't my normal language. This isn't stuff I deal with every day. So right now, this is feeling like a tool that could be really, really powerful for people who make websites all the time and help them kind of leap forward in getting it done, or at least generating the initial idea to then share with a client. At this point, I'm like, ooh, that's a whole lot. I just want to create one website for myself. I don't want to learn how to make websites. That was why I was interested in something like Dora. But I can tell that there's still a lot of website knowledge that I would need in order to make really effective use of this tool. Let's keep going.
See how now it moves along with the image, and if we want to center align this text, we can connect the left and right.
Let's speed up.
Let me add a colored fill so that you can see it better. And if we want to make this image responsive inside the container, let's first center align it and set its width to 40%. It is 40% of its footer container's width. Or we can set it to fill, add some paddings to it under the constraint.
Okay, so and the next thing that comes up is website design has to fit both computer screens, and mobile screens. So obviously she's dealing with some of that responsiveness. That's what she's talking about in terms of things fitting mobile and computer on one site. But again, this is beyond my knowledge. I would say beyond the knowledge of most interior designers who are trying to make their own website. Let's keep going, but I'm going to skip forward.
Constraint section. So let's drag this bottom part out and delete this top constraint, and then click on the icon on top and drag out a new container. Now let's add an image in here. Let's select this astronaut image and then set its.
Okay, so my next thought is she's doing a great job building a website, but she is literally hand building a website. So basically, Dora gave her a template, which I could find in Canva, it seems like, and now she's making it better. I guess maybe the difference between this and Canva is that it is AI for website building, and so it's being very specific in its tools. But other than that, if I don't know how to use those tools, I don't think this is a more powerful tool for me than Canva. Let's keep going.
Width and height both to fill space so that it fills up the container. And I'd also like to add some paddings on the side for the section. Next, let me show you how to add links to elements on your page. If you want to make this button clickable, the quickest way is to go to Event, add an interaction, choose Open Link, and paste in your destination URL. You can check out more tutorials on how to create interactive components in our YouTube channel. And lastly, once we're done editing the sites, let me show you how to publish it. Go to the Publish button on the top right and then click on Set up your subdomain. Save it and then click Publish online. Wait for it to publish and voila, you now have.
Yes, so you can see right there, orbitview.dora.run. So if you publish from their site, you'll be actually hosted on the Dora ecosystem rather than on your own ecosystem. I have no idea how I would be able to get that over to my own site. And at this point, I'm not feeling like Dora is necessarily the tool I'd be using anyway, because quite frankly, I don't have the skills to make effective use of this tool based on what I know about website building, which is what I was curious about. Okay, so let's go into the start editing. We've got ourselves in this with this basic map. Okay, what have we got here? Almost a Frida Kahlo effect. Kind of cute. Okay, so the zoom is very touchy. Okay, so what's interesting is they have, they're obviously using good website building fundamentals, right? And that's nice if you have no clue where to begin building a website. So they've got a nice big header right here, and then you can click. They have calls to action. It's very clean. It's very easy to read. They have a nice menu up here. And it's interesting they aren't using Latin, the pretend Latin, for all their text boxes. But notice how little text they're actually including. Most websites are going to need more text than this to really get people to buy. And secondly, this is a landing page. It's a one page, so it's not really going to give you a lot of room to share a longer story without adding a lot more content in. And finally, this will not help you build your actual content. And I think this is the main takeaway. This is beautiful, but it's sort of like a pretty room that isn't functional. There is obviously no information about the course that I would be building or the course that I would be offering. So this is only going to build us the visual roadmap for a single landing page, and I am sure that if we were to dive into Dora, we could do multiple pages. But even if we like this and we didn't have to do so much rebuilding that we might as well have built our own site in the first place, we still have to build the content, the actual copy, what you're going to say. And that honestly is the biggest gap. Most people can come up with what they want it to look like at some level. They really struggle when trying to come up with what to say. And that's where some people need to work with a copywriter, but a copywriter can also only tell the story that you want them to tell. So it all comes back to, what are you trying to say? What is the message that is going to be compelling to your audience? Then, whether you write that yourself or hand that off to a copywriter, that content has to be written, and then that content has to fit the content blocks that are available on your website. Website building is sort of a chicken and an egg problem, right? How do you know how much copy to write when you don't know how big the baskets are going to be for the copy? How big should she make the baskets if she doesn't know what you want her to say? And then on top of all of that, you still have to build your SEO, right? You need to make your website findable. Now you can see over here, we have got SEO settings. So this, I think Dora is actually probably a good tool in the right hands, just like a hammer is a good tool in the right hands. But if you don't know how to use a hammer, you're not going to be effectively able to build something with it. And I would say at this point, this would be like me as a toddler with a hammer in a room full of glass jars. It's just going to make a mess. I will have wasted a lot of time trying to learn a new tool when I should have probably spent my time figuring out what I want to say and then saying it, and then letting people who have a lot more skills with website building build me a website. Or if I'm really bootstrapping, I'd probably start in Canva or on Squarespace or Weebly, Wix, one of these website builders that's been around for a while. My summary is that this AI, like all AI, because I feel the same way about ChatGPT, which I use all the time, is only as good as how well you know how to use it. Just like any tool, it is only a tool. It is not going to do the magic for you. Garbage in will lead to, in this case, very pretty garbage out. So let's do a second trial, kind of creating the same thing we did a second ago, but let's try it with a little bit more information, okay? So what I would do on ChatGPT would be something like this. Create a landing page, let's say a sales page. Let's create a sales page for an interior, interior designers who focuses on biophilia. It's a hot trend right now. For busy families. No, busy professionals. I hear that one a lot too. I see. Okay, now there's no visual here at all, so I'm very curious what it's going to create. Now we also have some style things that we can actually try. If we click here, it'll give us a bunch of style options: pink gray art, dreamy art, organic style, dark dramatic, chic outdoors. You can see they're very cartoony, so I'm getting a little bit more of a Dali feel from these than a Midjourney feel. Oh, that retro sci-fi catches my attention. I might do one more demo on this, but let's just leave it alone and say no style, and let's just see what it does with this with very little information. Waiting the approximately 15 seconds. Okay, so very clean, very spare, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And if I want to actually see these larger, then I need to use another credits to actually make it larger and see it. Now, I can tell already that this is just a website creation is not rocket science, and it's more of an art, kind of like interior design, right? A kitchen is a kitchen. You need a fridge, you need a stove, you need a sink. There's an approximate order in which those things should be, and there's an approximate spacing in which those things should be relative to each other. That's all we're seeing here. This is room design for the internet. And then once you've decided the functional layout, then you have to make it aesthetically pretty and aesthetically unique. So that's what we're dealing with here. Instead of actually diving further into this, I want to go back and I want to do one more trial. Let's go back to projects, because I'm just going to run myself out of credits here. Let's do a landing page for for a course on nailing your niche. This is my actual desire, so let's see what I can do. With a space age rocket theme in colors teal, orange, and pink. So that's the kind of prompt that I would use in ChatGPT. Okay, so but except for not ChatGPT, in Midjourney. So obviously it wouldn't give me a landing page. That's the difference. But if I was working in ChatGPT, I would say I would have a space age rocket in these colors, and I would give it some other visual information. I doubt, I'm very curious, I doubt that the nailing your niche aspect is going to be well interpreted, because that's really about the content, okay? The content, the words I use are going to be about nailing your niche. The landing page is telling it what kind of room we're designing. So let's think about this from an interior design perspective. Landing page is, are we doing a kitchen? Are we doing a bath? Are we doing a living room? That's going to tell us what ingredients, what elements we need. The course on nailing your niche, that's the function of the room. How many people are going to use this room? How often are they going to use this room? What is this room for beyond the category that it is? What's its job? And then what's it going to look like? A space age rocket theme in colors teal, orange, and pink. That is the aesthetics of the kitchen that 17 people are going to use every morning before they go sailing. Okay? So that's, I don't know if it's going to work, but that's how I think about this and how I think about websites. Okay, now it's interesting because it lets us do a prompt on the previous page, but then it puts it into a prompt form again. It's given me some try this. This says nothing to do with what I've asked for, so that would be a silly thing for me to try. But again, notice that their prompts are focusing entirely on what the room is going to look like. Super cute in Pokemon, future car, blue, frosted glass, transparent tech. This is all what the room is going to look like. What room we're talking about, that's the landing page. The difference would be like an entire site, but this is just a landing page, one page that would scroll top to bottom looking at. Okay, and it has replicated that, so I didn't actually have to say a landing page, and in fact, it just took that away. So a landing page for a course on, again, I think that is not going to be useful information, with a space age rocket theme in colors teal, orange, and pink. And I am actually going to come down to the style because I noticed that they had a space age retro sci-fi option here. So we're going to click that. That's the 1980s sci-fi celestial punk. Okay, I more want the 1960s. Let's actually mess with its little brain. We're going to go 1960s space age, even though I said retro sci-fi. Let's generate 4 previews. Wait about 15 seconds. We just used another 20 of our original 120 credits. Okay, so love the colors, but then that's not to be surprising because those are the colors that I asked for. In terms, and we could only see this little tiny preview, so we're trying to evaluate which one is most us. Now, what I can say right off is I know that I had in my head pictured an upright launching rocket, and this is the only one of the 4 previews that would give me that. So this is like when we're working with a client and they really have trouble articulating what they want, but when they see it, they're like, oh yeah, that's what I wanted. Now let's say that none of these previews actually had a rocket that was launching into the sky. I might be like, no, that's not really what I was meaning. I might like this one because it's got one upright rocket right here, but it wouldn't be really hitting what I wanted. Now, could I have generated that better by saying to the AI with a rocket pointing up and launching into the sky? Not sure. It does give me up to 300 characters, so I could have said 3 times as much as I did here. But I like this one pretty well. Since we're just using up our credits today, let's go ahead and generate it. Now, obviously, Dora is very new. It is in beta. It is inviting ambassadors to test the features and tag them on socials. And beta is a great way to test anything. You can even do that in your interior design firms. You could say, I'm trying out a new service. Who wants to test this service? It's a great way to actually get feedback, which is one of the hardest things for us to get from our clients, while actually providing a service and getting paid. Because just because something's in beta doesn't mean you can't charge for it. You just are going to be charging less because they're paying you in feedback as well as money. So now it is generating our page based on that preview. And it is filling it with some content that is around actually launching a course. I find that interesting. It says, Launch Your Dreams, the Ultimate Niche Mastery Course. About 71% in. It says, tips, scroll or zoom to explore your page's progress. Okay, I can scroll even though it's faded in the background. And yeah, I can even scroll in. So there we go. All right, so this is what it has created for us. I find it odd and interesting. I thought that this would be the tail of this flame, but you'll notice that these are completely independent containers here. And so that kind of totally bugs me. If a website designer had brought this to me, I'd be like, well, can't this be an extension of this flame? And this is where website design gets really, or can get really complicated. When you want elements layering over each other, but then still growing and expanding and shrinking to fit all of the different ways people might see it, because they're going to look at your site on their phone, on their tablet, and on their computer, it gets really complicated. So the simplest websites have simple pictures in simple containers and not too much overlapping and not too much dynamic overlapping that has to change and shift. If you're paying $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 for a website, which we frequently do, that's the level of expertise that you should be getting. If you're paying several hundred or just a couple $1,000s for a website, it's just like when we ask for a tile install. There's tile install and there's tile install, right? If you're asking somebody to slap up some subway tile and get it done in a day in a whole shower surround, that's fine. You can pay for that and you get that done. If you're asking for somebody to do a custom mosaic or have like engineered precise grout lines and to really map out a layout before they even start the install, obviously that's going to be a more expensive tile install and your expectations will be different. The key when we're building a website or asking for tile installation is to make sure that our expectations are aligned with the skills of the person we're hiring and the price we're paying. Okay, so that's just an aside here. So what I like is it's done really fast. It does give me a little bit of a clue about how to talk about what I'm actually selling. So Launch Your Dreams, the Ultimate Niche Mastery Course. Explore the vast universe of potential with our specialized course designed to help you find and dominate your niche in any market. Enroll now. I could actually use this because it is, I want to tailor it to what I'm actually talking about. It doesn't talk about interior designers at all, like niche in any market. No, we do not want to be generic. So I like that. Scrolling down, it's saying, here's your course overview and your goals, what you will learn. So it's giving me a prompt to say, we need to tell people what they're going to actually get. And obviously it isn't telling that information because it didn't get that information from me. Ideally, we would have some place where we could actually give it like a chat GPT level of information so that it could then populate this with content using the AI skills of ChatGPT or something like that. Now, the other thing I really like is, and it happened up here, they're tying the copy to the visuals. So here it says, launch your dreams. And then here it's like the vast universe of potential. So it's cleverly tying the copy to the visuals. And that's really important. We want that cohesive, consistent message so that people trust what we're giving them and so that it feels thoughtful and intentional. It's not like I'm actually taking my clients to space, but I'm using it as a metaphor, as an analogy to help them understand what we're doing and to build excitement around what we're doing. So when you're building your brand, it doesn't have to be as literal as I'm an interior designer. These are living rooms. You could absolutely build the space lab and talk about space in your branding. But you also don't have to get that clever. This is all about you and your personality and what you want to have shine through when people come to your site and look at what you do. Okay, the rest of this is pretty standard. It's just giving you different containers in which you could put things like testimonials or your team or your benefits. Remember, this is just a landing page, so I'd have to summarize my team right here in this little box because it's not going to take me anywhere unless I used this to then redirect them to my actual website. Now, the problem with that is that this design has nothing to do with my current actual website, so there would be sort of an awkward jog in the brain for people to leap from here to what they would see on my website. This would be a lot more effective if I wanted to actually build this and publish it, and then it took somebody right to a registration page rather than to my actual website. But assuming that this was the only website you hadn't actually built one yet, this could definitely take somebody to a registration page or a buying page and then make a sale. Overall, what do I think? I think this is a really interesting tool. I think that it probably will be most powerful in the hands of somebody who already understands website design, and that this is helping them leap forward just the way I use ChatGPT. I already understand how to write copy. I'm using ChatGPT to write it more quickly and to generate ideas when I'm feeling like I've got some writer's block. Hope this was helpful. Would love to hear in the comments.